Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my garden on another glorious spring day, and I'm not getting tired of saying it because this year round we're so lucky with the weather and the forecast is not disappointing me, so I think it's going to stay like this at least for another week or so. I just returned from a morning walk with Alfie, and after that we had a lovely breakfast on the terrace in the sun. And trust me, a day couldn't possibly start better than enjoying the lovely spring sun in the face in the morning already. And sitting there on the terrace gave me the opportunity to already have a closer look on the area that I want to work in together with you guys today. So I'm taking you with me to the front garden, just to that area next to the terrace, obviously. And if I remember right, I think the very first planting video that we did this year happened in this area as well. So if you remember, I purchased this really lovely urn. If I just swing around and show you again, this is where it is, standing on its concrete pole still. Nothing really happened in that area ever since. And we potted up some really pretty spring plants, and guess what happened? Temperatures were dropping, and someone remembered to store all of the pots with the tender plants into the garage or the garden shed overnight, but that urn. So after 2-3 days, it kind of dawned on me, and I was like, oh, and I checked it, and then I was like, uh-oh. So, well, things might look a little different to what you might remember. I'm going to give you a closer look in a second what happened there. But in that video, I also talked you through some of the ideas that I have for this area. And what I did, I suppose, 4 or 5 days ago, I drove to the garden centre, bought a plant, put it there, and then I kind of forgot about it because I just needed to let the idea sink in, really think about it, take it all in. And then yesterday when we were planting the yew in the back of the garden together, I'm certain like, yes, I really know what I want to do in this area. So last night I drove to the garden center again. So I've got my plants, I've got fresh garden soil, I've got mulch, I have everything that I need. So excited to finally get into this area. So what I want to do first, as usual, flip the phone, talk you through a little bit and show you the area so you know what is going on in today's video. This is the area where I want to work in together with you guys today. So technically this is still part of the front garden, and this border is flanking the side of the house. It's fully south facing, so whatever I put in here really needs to like a full sun condition. This is the urn that we potted up together earlier this year, and it still sits on the concrete pole, obviously. No painting job happened yet, but this is exactly what I want to do today. I've got some spray paint, try to match it as good as possible to the urn. Oh, there's Alfie, hello. So I'm really excited to finally change that look as well. And if you remember, we planted a hellebore, 3 primroses and 3 ivy in here. The ivy still kind of made it, but this is how evergreens look if you don't water them in winter, and then you have a frosty cold day, it has sunburn, which is not ideal. So I need to see, well, it's still flexible, there's still life in here, so maybe I'll leave the strings as they are and just see what happens for now. The plant still has life at a base basically, which is lovely. So all the leaves here still looking really nice. So worst case, I could just cut back and wait for it to grow back. The hellebore kind of made it, so that is in a border. The primroses weren't so lucky, they are on the compost heap now. And I decided to just put a nice white hyacinth in here. So I've got 6 hyacinth, some moss, some mulch, and that's all there is for now for a lovely spring display. Yeah. Hope that they're going to open and be happier to what was in there before. This is exactly the area where I want to do some planting with you today. There are plants in here, but as you can tell, they're all perennials basically. So everything is pretty much cut back to the bare bones and there's not really a lot of excitement going on. So I want to introduce some all year round interest to this area so that this pole does not sit so idle and kind of lost in the garden. So I have a nice plan and a plant, but before I can do that, I need to do some transplanting. On this side here, there are some asters. This is a very beautiful aster called Schöne von Dietlikon. I showed it to you in my autumn videos already on multiple occasions, absolutely loving it. So this will be transplanted a little bit. Behind the pole, there are multiple, well, I think multiple, 5, maybe 6, Calamagrostis, Carl Förster. Alfie's just taken a munch on them. They will be transplanted as well. And then on this side here, there are still 3 phlox plants. So, well, they're 1, 2, 3. It's a 4 actually. A white variety, they're very nice, but they will be transplanted to a complete different area of a garden as well. This is an area where I didn't have a planting scheme, and well, I think this is what normally happens when you don't map things out properly, then the transplanting game starts all over again. But I think now I'm kind of on a good track with that, so keep your fingers crossed that this is going to be nice. At the end of my planting video where we planted the urn, I shared with you my idea of putting box spheres in this area here. But clearly yesterday I told you that I'm not willing to introduce any more box spheres or boxwood to the borders of a garden because I'm very conscious about the situation with box blight and the caterpillar. So you can understand that I was really excited to find yew spheres in all different sizes and shapes in the garden centre. So I couldn't resist to buy these, obviously. I'm not going to tell you any of the advantages of yew in this video because I've just done it yesterday. So if you are excited to introduce yew to your own garden, you need to have some side information, just watch yesterday's video. I want to position one on each side of the urn because I think it is like a nice element of formality and symmetry, but at the same time I have a lot of like grasses and perennials as an underplanting here, so I think it's not going to look too formal. I think it will be quite an intriguing mixture, but I think it will be just a lovely winter structure and interest here because you can tell not a lot is going in here at the moment. What I want to do is when I plant them, have in mind how tall I want the yew to grow. So I think the height that they have now in the container when they're sitting on the soil is just the perfect height for them. But obviously I want to keep them in a nice sphere shape. So I'm not allowed to plant them too close to the concrete pole because what happens then at one point when I cut it, it's going to grow into the pole or I'm going to have an Easter egg. So I really need to make sure that it's spaced quite nice and far away from the pole, which is going to look a little funny probably now for the first 2-3 years, but then once that they have reached their final size, I think this is going to look really cute. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to spray paint, and this is the first time I ever used spray paint in my entire life. Clearly I was not a sprayer kid, so this was exciting. When I was in the hardware store, I was like, whoa, an entire new world just opened for me. All these options, and I was like, okay, what to do? So I found this one here. First of all, it's a nice small spray paint, so I was like, oh good, it's not going to be a big waste because obviously I'm not going to use even all of this here for this one pole. It is for indoors, outdoors, works on all surfaces, perfect, waterproof, and even if you breathe it in, shouldn't cause any allergy. But when I'm spraying, Alfie is so going to go indoors because I know that she's going to be very intrigued about what I'm doing. So no, I'm not having that situation. I think how I'm going to tackle this entire project is, first of all, I will remove the mulch, take those perennials and grasses out that I want to transplant, put them aside, improve the soil. Then I'm going to spray paint as a little fun project. Let's see how that goes. I'm very happy, by the way, with how the color matches the urn, because obviously I couldn't take the urn with me to the hardware store, so this was a little bit of good guessing, but I think this is a nice color combination, almost the same. After I sprayed it, so when the spray paint dries, then I will finally start with the planting. Obviously always the most exciting part of the day. And I'm really excited about the final outcome because I think this will look really nice. I'm at the point where I can start with the spraying. I have prepared everything. Like I dug out all of the grasses and perennials that I want to move, weeded a little bit, which is also nice, obviously. Came in with a bag of fresh garden soil, some organic bone chips, dug it all under, so everything is prepared now. All I need to do is spray, then put all of the perennials back or like in a different area and mulch it. Let's see how the spraying goes. I already put on like an old sweater now because I was like, oh no, I'm not very fond of ruining one of my favorite sweaters when I spray for the first time ever in my life. At least there's no wind outside. So this is a good thing that keeps me quite positive. So I'm really excited. Let's see how it goes. Believe it or not, I haven't even tested it. So what I did is I just shook the can quite well. It's all written in Polish, so I tried to make some sense into it. I just had my translator on the phone. I was like, okay, shake it. I was like, okay, I've done that. So that is good. Just opening it, and let's see how this goes. All right. Oh yeah. That's easy as I thought, honestly. Color seems to be nice, seems to be quite matching. Let's see how it looks when it dries off. What I'm going to do now is spray my way all the way around it, probably twice, I think, just to be sure that it's really covering well, and then put the urn back on. Oh, this is exciting. That is so much better. It really looks as if that pole was meant to be there just for that purpose. The color is a tad on the bluish side, but probably what happens is that me being a fashion designer, kind of kicking in a little bit. Now I'm being a little finicky about colors, but in general, I think it looks really nice together. So obviously what I'm going to do now is start my planting. So I removed the asters from here, and they will just go in here basically, kind of like an underplanting for the wisteria, and behind this lovely pole and the in front, I want to have an entire drift of the euphorbia. So I'm going to take some of the ones that are still sitting there to the front, place both of the euspheres on each side. Then I will have a drift of the Calamagrostis grass here. I will leave a little bit of a gap here because there I want to have the evergreen euphorbia that is on the other side. And there was white phlox in there that is bound to go into a complete different area of the garden. But before that happens, I will finish off everything in here. Project is done, I'm ready, and I even remember to water everything in. And that coming out of my mouth means something, because I always say like, oh, I need to water it, and then I completely forget about it. And once I was on it, I made the round. So I even remembered to water the pots in front of the garden shed, the ones that are just at the main entrance, and I put some of the tulips on the terrace now, just next to the seating area. So everything is watered, very happy, and I'm really happy about the result of today's project. That was a good one. I'm thrilled to show you the final result, how everything looks. I feel it looks as if it was meant to be exactly like this. Like, how funny that I had this concrete pole sitting there for so many years not knowing what to do. And then just on a gander through a garden centre, I discovered the urn and I saw it and I was like, yes, that is exactly what I need. And I feel also in terms of color, it looks so pretty and nice now. Also with the two box spheres, obviously. They are still quite small, so they need to grow in. But I think once they've established and reached the final size, this will be just a very wonderful look together. And also I could really use the urn for seasonal planting, which excites me even more so. For the perennials, you're not going to see a lot though, because we're so early in the year, because obviously after I mulched everything, they kind of disappear almost. So there are the euphorbia. There will be a lovely carpet of euphorbia here. I did an autumn video just about this variety. It's called Tall Boy. It's absolutely beautiful, one of my favorite varieties. The asters are in the back there. Maybe you can tell there's a few leaves poking through here and there, kind of like an underplanting for the wisteria. What you can see though is a calamagrostis, because there's always a little further ahead. So there is a wonderful drift of calamagrostis here, kind of a backdrop for the border. And it is a nice idea, I think, because it reaches a height of like 1 meter to 1.30 meters at max. Has a nice upright but airy growing habit. So I feel that this will be just a lovely drift for the back of a border. One last thing I want to show you quickly, because I just saw it when I was watering in my plants. Look. Fritillaria persica, this is a variety called Ivory Belt, one of my favorite, and I just saw today that it starts pushing its buds already, so it won't be too long until I can show you how they look in flower. They are absolutely perfect and one of my springtime favorite. You guys, that is it for today's video, and I'm so happy that I could share this project with you, because that was something that was lingering in my head for quite a while, and I feel so accomplished that it's done and that I'm happy with that as well. Can't wait to share with you how this area is going to develop, but obviously this is going to take a while now. It's been glorious spring days right now. Not sure if you could hear it or if you can hear it right now. The garden is filled with the sound of birds, and that is just wonderful. But in a moment it will be filled with the joy of, where is she? There she is, still sleeping, but it becomes to routine that by the end of every video, I play with Alfie in the garden, and that's exactly what I'm going to do today as well, obviously, because it is a lovely afternoon, sun is out, it's warm, beautiful back here. She doesn't know that's going to happen, but I think that she's definitely going to enjoy it. So all I can say is thank you so much for watching today's video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and if you feel like saying hi on Instagram, the link to my Instagram account is just down below this video. Up until then, take care guys, bye.